All right. Shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Haloim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakat Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of great millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad. Akim and the Akwat that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. It's the brother Shawab Amwan back at you with another lesson. And going into the title, breaking news, a sound of battle is in the land, the least of the flock shall draw them out. All right. I'm going to play this video and grab some precepts and close out. Lord willing is edifying and straight to the point. All right. So apparently, Small Hat World bombed Russia, dropped a couple of missiles. All right, which I'm going to play this right now.
This is because some breaking news. Israel have just bombed Russia and they've blown up a Russian supply line to Iran. And this supply line, it carries Russian oil, Russian weapons, etc. And Israel just blew them up. And Russia is preparing to go to war over this. Well, today, Israel has carried out their first attack onto the Caspian Sea. And according to reports, Israel, quote, targeted a supply corridor used by Russia to transport drones, ammunition, and other military equipment to Iran. Now, it is worth knowing that Russia is one of the biggest military equipment suppliers to Iran, and vice versa. Iran supplies Russia with their famous Shahed drones, and in return, Russia gives Iran helicopters and missiles and things like that. Well, Russia and Iran both border the Caspian Sea, and rather than sending this equipment by land, they send it through the sea, through a 600-mile-long corridor. Russia also has pipelines as part of this supply corridor, and so Israel might have bombed them too. Currently, we don't actually know whether Israel bombed ships which were transporting equipment or whether they bombed these pipelines. The reports are quite vague. All we know is that Israel bombed one of them, or maybe both of them. However, because of how big a deal this is, because Israel has bombed Russian equipment, it suggests that the war might go on for longer. Specifically, in just the last day, Polymarket has predicted that the chance the war with Iran will end by the end of this month has dropped from 18% yesterday to 13% today. And that's because Russia has now been attacked in this war, making it far more likely that Russia will supply more and more equipment and intelligence to Iran to help them fight against Israel, meaning the war will go on for longer. Now, Russia has not officially issued a statement on this yet, even though their own equipment and transport corridor has been blown up. And so it's likely they will, and they'll probably officially just call for peace, as they normally do. But behind the scenes, they're going to be quite mad. A lot happens behind the scenes that we don't hear about. And so leave me a follow, because once we find out more, I'm going to keep you up to date on all of the global news, especially if Russia continues to help Iran. Some breaking news. Israel just bombed Russia and they've blown up a Russian supply.
So you heard what's going on. All right. Either they bombed the pipeline or they bombed a couple of ships that pretty much brings over weapons to Iran. All right. And as you can see, Iran and Russia both are in cahoots with each other because Russia's being a guard onto Iran. All right. As it tells you in Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. Okay. Let's grab this. This is 1 second, is loading up my blue letter. Let's grab. This is Isaiah 13 and 4. And it's a matter of fact. Let's take it from 2. Okay. And then I'll drop down to 17. All right. It says, lift up ye the banner. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain. Exalt the voice unto them. Shake the hand, that they may go into the gates of the nobles. Right. And that's what we're doing. We're constantly, lifting up that banner. Okay. Giving the warning, all right, onto our people. All right. And giving the warning onto Babylon the Great. All right. This NLT says, raise a signal flag on a bare hilltop, call up an army against Babylon. Have your hand to encourage them as they march into palaces of the high and mighty. Right? It says, I have commanded my sanctified ones. I have also called my mighty ones from mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. Okay. So the Lord has his sanctified ones out there, all right, on the highways and hedges, constantly warning you of what's to come, which World War III is imminent. All right. There is no, they can make as many peace treaties as they want. All right. But at the end of the day, prophecy is going to play out. World War III is going to happen. All right. Because that's the end game of all things, man. All right. So it says, the noise of the multitude in the mountains, like as of great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together. The Lord Yahweh of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. All right, so the Lord is the one that's controlling this war right now. Okay, so going back to what I was saying, there could be as many peace treaties as it want. All right, man's goings is of the Lord, so how can a man understand his own way? All right, the Lord was directing, all right, everybody's steps at the end of the day. He's playing chess right now. He putting the chessboard, the chess pieces where they need to go on the chessboard. All right, everybody being set up, all right, for checkmate at the end of the day. All right, because the Lord's about to bring, destruction upon all these heathens. Okay, so the Lord is setting them up to destroy this place, Babylon the Great. All right, now let's just jump down real quick to 17. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes. All right. And the Medes go back to being Russia. Okay. It says, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. And as for gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows also shall dash the young men to pieces, and they shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. All right. Yeah. Because when them missiles are shot, all right, them missiles are shot for good. All right, as the scriptures tell you in, let me grab that real quick. This is 2nd Ezra 16 and 2nd 5. It says, matter of fact, let's take it from 2. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children, and be sorry, for your destruction as at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood? Or may anyone quench the fire in the stubble when it has begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer? The mighty Lord Yahushai sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? Because that's what eventually is going to happen. Once the missiles fly, man, no one's going to be able to turn away, all right, those missiles, okay? It says a fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? You see, he shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord Yahushua shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to powder at his presence? The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea ariseth up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also before the Lord Yahushua and before the glory of his power. Okay. It says, for strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp and shall not miss when he begin to be shot into the ends of the world. And that's talking about the missiles, because there's no arrow that can go from one end of the world to another. All right. So it's a metaphor being spoken. All right. It says, behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. You see? So that's what's going to come eventually to Babylon the Great, man, is the missiles. Okay, missiles is going to fly and no one's going to be able to stop those missiles. There's going to be 200 million missiles according to Revelations, the 9th chapter, all right, that's going to hit this place. All right, and none of them, according to Joel, the 2nd chapter, all right, none of them shall break their ranks. All right, why? Because the Lord going to have the spirit in each and one of those missiles, all right, to do the damage that is required. You see? For the wickedness that this place, you know, has, you know, took to a whole nother level. Wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth. All right. And their hurtful works are fulfilled. Right. So let's grab this real quick. Two of them popping up in my head real quick. This is Jeremiah 50. This is Jeremiah 50 and 22. A sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? All right. See, that's the future prophecy for America. All right. And also for Israel, because it's heavy that Israel went and did that move, because again, the Lord mustered the host of the battle. All right. The Lord put the spirit on them to do that. All right. Because eventually Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, is going to play out. All right. And they're going to end up destroying Israel. All right. The least of the flock shall draw them out, because with this going on, right, Israel's got to, you know, Israel makes a move, and who's right there to back them up? America. America has to follow their orders, right? America's the bitch. So whatever, you know, Israel tells them what to do, they're going to do it. So eventually they're going to draw them into that war against Russia. All right. So Israel will be destroyed according to Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. And then Putin's going to have that evil thought and go to this to the unwalled villages, the place of unwalled villages, which is here in America, you see, and eventually America will be destroyed, all right, by you know, Russia, all their allies, okay, all America's allies. You see all these nations coming together, as it tells you, all right, and Revelation 17 and 16, all right, the beast shall hate the whore, all right. So eventually all these nations around the world, all right, gonna set themselves array, right, for battle. They're gonna turn themselves to go against America, Babylon the Great, and destroy them off the and destroy this place off the map, basically, because this place is never gonna be inhabited again. This place is gonna be just as Sodom and Gomorrah was overthrown, all right, and just like Sodom and Gomorrah to this day, you can't live there. You know, nothing grows there. Too much sulfur. All right, this is how America's gonna be. This is gonna be a habitation of devils, man. All right, for every foul bird, right, it's gonna be a place for vultures and ravens and crows. All right, it's gonna be a place that's gonna be desolate, and it's gonna have continual smoke from generation to generation, meaning a very long time, till it puts out itself. Okay, why? Because this Babylon the Great needed a great cleansing. This is a place that needs to be sacrificed, you see, and the Lord has the perfect sacrifice, America being the altar, all right, the missiles being the flame, all right, and the people in it, all right, being that sacrifice that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is going to bring upon this place. All right. So a sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. All right. So let's go back to Isaiah 13 and 17 again. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. All right. And that's what the Lord has done. He has stirred up the Medes. All right. When you go into Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, it talks about how he going to put that spirit back into them. Right. This is verse 4. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. You see? So the Lord's going to put that Soviet Union spirit back into them, you know, having them gird up with all these different types of military, you see, ready to, you know, with all types of military weapons, right? Now they're being a guard onto all these other nations, these smaller nations. Now the smaller nations that were once weak are now become strong, you see? So it says Persia, all right, which that goes into the modern day Iranians, right? Ethiopia and Libya, with them, all of them with shield and helmet, you see? It says Gomer and all his bands, all right, which eventually Turkey, all right, will end up leaving America as being an ally, which, you know, they're in the process of that now, all right? And they will end up joining Russia, and Russia's going to be a guard on to them, you see? So Russia's going to be a guard on to Persia, which is the modern day Iranians, Ethiopia, Libya, going into these Africans, all right? It says all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer, Turkey, all his bands and house, in the house of Togomar of the north quarters, and all his bands and many people with thee. Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, be thou a guard unto them, you see? And that's exactly what you see. All right, this is why Israel made that move, all right, to try to, you know, whether it was the boat that they were hitting, or whether it was the, what he said it was a pipeline, okay? They're doing that because they're being a guard onto Iran. Iran is getting funded with weapons, okay, from Russia, you see, and vice versa. Russia's getting weapons from them also, okay. So it says, after many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years, thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste. And it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, and all thy bands and many people with thee. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think in evil thoughts. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of the unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest. And that's talking about America, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. You see? Why? Because they're all over the place waging war. All right. This place has no protection. Okay. They allowed all types of different people, different nations to come in and out of this land. All right. That's the only land in the world that pretty much does that. You see? So this is a place of unwalled villages, has no protection, okay? So eventually he's going to have that evil thought to go against America. And that's going to happen, watch, when America joined that war, all right, to help Israel against Russia, you see? And this is only the start of it. This is the beginning of sorrows, man, okay? It's going to intensify now. You heard what they said. It's going to take longer, right, to make a peace treaty to this war. And that's because at the end of the day, World War III is imminent. Okay, so there's really no peace. Scriptures tell you that, man. It tells you that in Jeremiah the 30th chapter, man. They shall want peace and there shall be none. Right? And that's talking about Jacob's trouble. All right, but still, that scripture applies to even this war, man. People gonna be trying to seek peace treaties. All right, and they're not going to be able to be successful. One, because this devil's a covenant breaker. He break every peace treaty that he makes. all right, and two, because the word of prophecy is playing out, all right, to the T. So what Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai has written shall stand, right? There are many devices in a man's heart, nonetheless, the counsel of the Lord shall stand. So whether they like it or not, World War III is going to come, right? As a matter of fact, let's grab that real quick. This is Revelations 11 and 14. The second woe was passed, and we already had the first woe passed. The second woe is passed, and these are world wars, is passed. And behold, the third woe cometh quickly, you see? And it's coming real quick, faster than we ever thought. It just keeps on escalating more and more. All right, and this ain't no this ain't no little ass war where it's just with one country. See, if you realize the pattern, the Lord got America dealing with all these different nations in war, man. That's why all these nations are gonna come up against it, even their allies, because he's so bold, right? Just as the scriptures tell you in Daniel, he was more stout than his fellows, right? This nigga getting bold to the point where he even getting bold with his own allies. You see? So by being like that, all right, the pride of thine heart has deceived thee, right? And that's why it tells you in Obadiah 1 and 7 in the NLT, right? It says, all the men of thy confederacy, all right? Matter of fact, NLT, it says, all your allies will turn against you. They will help to chase you from your land. They will promise you peace while plotting to deceive and destroy you. Your trusted friends will set traps for you, and you won't even know about it. Yeah, and look, prime example is how Iran put everybody in a predicament, right? Because now they're about to close the Strait of Mandeb, right? They already closed the Strait of Hormuz, right? And basically they told all these other nations that we'll give you passage if you do what? If you stop messing, all right, with if you stop messing with America, you see? So they trying to get everybody to go away from America. And eventually they will, because they're not going to sacrifice themselves trying to deal with America and then risk their own countries to be destroyed, or their own countries to go through, you know, a total collapse, which a global collapse is happening anyway, because you have the MOTB that's about to be set in place. And with this happening right now, that's how you know that we're that much closer to that MOTB being made mandatory. Because look how World War III is spreading quickly. Look how all these other nations is prepared to fight against America. You see? That's why there's a sound of battle in the land. All right? You can literally smell the war. You can taste the war. It's in the air. Okay? So let's go back to 1 second. Back to Isaiah 13, all right, and 17. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it, right? As a matter of fact, hold on. Where's that at? Give me 1 second. Hold on. Something popped over my head. I thought it was in the next chapter. Just give me 1 second. I'll go back to that. Yeah, this is Isaiah 14 and 9. It says, hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. And this is talking about Esau, man. This is what's coming for him. All right. It says, it stirreth up the dead for thee, even all the chief ones of the earth. It has raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. You see, all these other nations are raising up, and the Lord is putting the spirit on them. You see, he putting the spirit on them to come out in that warlike spirit. You see, that's why it says, all they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? Yeah. because now they're being weakened, America. When at one point they were the powerhouse. They're no longer that powerhouse, man. The weak is now saying I'm strong. The weak is now showing their teeth because they have the same type of capabilities, the same nuclear power, all right, that Esau has, that America has. All these nations around the world got the same capabilities, man. So there's no more I can just flash a nuclear missile at you and calm your ass down with it. Nah. While you showing your nuclear missiles, man, they're showing theirs. And then they have guards like Russia, like China, you know, that are big powerhouses. And you know damn sure that America don't want no sauce with any of them too. You see? This is Shalom, this is Habakkuk 2 and 3 says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, and it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it shall surely come, it will not tarry. Okay, so hey, the vision is yet for an appointed time, right? Ecclesiastes tells you Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. It says, to everything there is a season and a time, and to every purpose under the heaven. Right? I'm going to skip straight to the point. 8, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. You see? We're in a time where there's much hate going all over the world. Ain't no love out here no more. You see? Everybody on that survival of the fittest type shit. All right? It says a time of war and a time of peace. Yeah, there's no more time for peace treaties. No more time for everybody to kiss and make up. All right. We are in a time of war. You see? Because the Lord is a man of war. Tells you that in Exodus 15 and 3. The Lord Yahweh is a man of war. The Lord Yahweh is his name. All right. So the Lord's stirring it up. All right. So let's go back to Isaiah 13 and 17 again. Behold, I will stir up the Medes against thee, which shall not regard silver, and as for the gold, they shall not delight in it. Their bows, missiles, also shall dash the young men to pieces. They shall have no pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, shall be as when Yahweh overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. You see? So the Lord's stirring, all right, that war with Russia right now. That's why he put the spirit on Israel to do what they did. All right. And they're going to keep on doing stupidity. You see? So let's grab this. This is Jeremiah 51. And I'll pretty much start closing it out. Right. This is let's take it from 7. Actually, let's take it from 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, all right? And meaning what? Come out the ways of Babylon, man, all right? You're going to end up being partakers of her plagues if you don't, you see? It says, and deliver every man his soul, be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Okay, let's jump down. All right, 11, make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord Yahweh has raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon. Yeah, the device that he's talking about is talking about them thermonuclear missiles, man. Satan 1, Satan 2, and the rest of these missiles that they got. All right. Those were created for Babylon the Great. The Lord Yahweh raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord Yahweh, the vengeance of his temple. Set up the standard upon the walls of Babylon, make the watch strong, set up the watchmen, prepare the ambushes, for the Lord Yahweh has both devised and done that which he spake against the inhabitants of Babylon. You see, showing you that the Lord is behind all these things, man. Right? The Lord has devised these things. He has made this plan. He has schemed it out the way he wanted to. Perfectly. Okay? Now we just got to sit back and watch how the Lord makes these minds of these different nations, all right, do what they do. All right, it says, "O thou that dwellest upon many waters, abundant in treasures, thine end is come, and the measure of thy covetousness. The Lord Yahweh of hosts has sworn by himself, saying, surely I will fill thee with men as with caterpillars, and they shall lift up a shout against thee." Yeah, and you've seen that. You've seen how all these different sleeper cells are here in America, you know, how all these different men have just come up against Babylon, right? They all want war. You see? It says he has made the earth by his power. He has established the world by his wisdom and stretched out the heaven by his understanding. Okay? But that's pretty much the point on that. Right? Let's grab this and I'm going to pretty much close it out. This is Slovakia. This is yeah, let's grab this, right? This is Psalms 2:1. It says, "Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord Yahweh and against his anointed." Okay, and that's another thing that's eventually gonna happen. All right, they're all gonna try to come up against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai in the midst of World War III. Okay, and they're coming up against the men of the Lord now, against his anointed now, by getting this great persecution ready at the same time, right? It says, "Let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh. The Lord Yahweh Shai shall have them in derision. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. The Lord Yahweh has said unto me, thou art my son. This day have I begotten thee. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance." And that's eventually what will happen once this place is destroyed. All these heathens are going to be under subjection, all right, to Yahweh Shai, man, all right, to King David, okay? It says, "Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen of thine inheritance in the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron. Thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's vessel. Be wise now, therefore, O you kings. Be instructed, ye judges of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and ye perish from the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him." And that's a great warning to our people, man. To get right before all this shit pops off, man. Jacob's trouble, hour of temptation, and ultimately, all right, Armageddon, man. World War III, the war of all wars that's gonna end this place, right? You got to get right with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Let's end it with this. This is Isaiah 24 and 20. And it reads, "The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgression thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again." You see, this place ain't gonna rise again. America, Babylon the Great is not gonna rise again. This place is gonna be utterly destroyed, man. From California to New York City, okay? It's gonna be a place, all right, where you're gonna have let's grab that real quick so I'm right by Isaiah 34, and I'll get straight to the point. This is 10. It says, "It shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever, from generation to generation. It shall lie waste. None shall pass through it forever and ever. But the cormorant," all right, and the cormorant is actual actually native to America, North America only. Yeah, they're around the world, but their true birthplace is here in North America. And that's how you know, that's a sign right there to show you that it's talking about America. But the cormorant and the bittern shall possess it, the owl also and the raven shall dwell in it, and he shall stretch out upon it the line of confusion. Why? Because this is Babylon the Great. Gonna smack it right back at him with that confusion. And the stones of emptiness, they shall call the nobles thereof to the kingdom, but none shall be there, and all her princes shall be nothing. And thorns shall come up in her palaces, nettles and brambles in her fortresses thereof, and it shall be a habitation of dragons and a court for owls. The wild beasts of the desert shall meet with the wild beasts of the island, and the satyr shall cry to his fellow. The screech owl also shall rest there and find for herself a place of rest. There shall the great owl make her nest and lay and hatch and gather under her shadow. There shall the vultures also be gathered, every one with her mate. Seek ye out the book of the Lord Yahweh and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate. For my mouth it has commanded, and his spirit it has gathered them. You see? So we have to seek the Lord while he may be found, man, and get right, all right, while there's still an opportunity, because the doors of mercy is still open, but that door of mercy is about to close. You see? So you want to seek ye out the book, get right with Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Why? Because none of these shall fail, meaning none of these prophecies are going to fail. Each one of them is going to come to pass, man. Not a jot nor tittle, to all shall it perish from the law until all things be fulfilled. Okay, and this truth has reached literally the four corners of the earth, and the scriptures say that this gospel shall be preached throughout the four corners of the earth, and then the end shall come. You see, so the end is here because it has reached the four corners. These are the last warnings, the last second warnings. All right. For our people to get right or pretty much get burned. You see? There ain't gonna be a happy ending for those that don't hearken and turn back to the Heavenly Father, man. You're gonna straight disintegrate out here, and it's gonna be a slow burn. Okay? So, hey man, it's a beautiful thing to see prophecy play out the way it's playing out right now. You see, and Lord willing, more comes out of this. You know, Lord willing that they just do something more stupid, all right, to piss off Russia, all right, and pretty much, you know, hey, we just waiting for Putin to start pushing buttons, you see? So let's see what happens through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. So I'm going to leave it there through the spirit. Lord willing, you will edify. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Oim La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad. The Akim and the Akwat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith and doing as good soldiers of Yahweh Shai. A Bible ball real soon. Shalom.